Hey guys, and welcome into the last live stream of 2019. I kind of threw this together at the last minute, in all honesty. I wasn't even sure that I was going to do it. But then I thought, I know for sure that there's no way in the world I'm going to be able to do it tomorrow. So I thought, hey, why not? Let's just jump on tonight. I know some of you may be back to work, but I know a lot of people are still off. This is kind of the period in the music business where everything is dead and has been, for the last 2.5 weeks and will be really for another, I don't know, probably week and a half at least. All the kids are still out of school too. So I wanted to hop on and have an opportunity for us to just kind of hang out, and we can do Q&A, talk about gear. We can talk about anything you guys want to talk about, but this is also helping me that we are going to get back in the habit of doing this again every Monday night like we used to. We went like 6 or 8 months, and you guys were great. It was all me. And so I'm looking forward to, in 2020, getting back to doing our live streams on a more regular and consistent basis, which will probably be Monday nights. Now that we're in playoff football and there's not going to be any more Monday night football, it's not going to interfere with any of that. So it looks like Monday nights is going to be the night for sure. So as you log on, I can see people starting to log on. As you log on, type something in the chat. Let's see, where are we live tonight? We are live on Twitch. We're live on YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, LinkedIn, Facebook, just about everywhere. And I have the new device that will allow me to do Instagram as well. I keep forgetting to do it, honestly. I've got the little thing right here. And for those of you that are, and listen to this, even artists, check this thing out. It's made by Rode. I don't know if this thing will focus or not. It's made by Rode, and what you do is you plug, of course, that into your Apple device. It's for Apple devices. And then you plug your microphones, if you want, in the other end. So if you want to get to where you can do really good and high-quality social media stuff of you, like singing and performing and doing that kind of stuff, you really ought to pick up one of these, because you can... It puts high quality audio straight into your iPhone, and I don't know if they make them for other like Android devices or other stuff like that, but I know for sure that they make it for the iPhone, because I have it, and it's really cool. So I'm going to start using it to where when we go live, I can go live on Instagram at the same time, and they hear the same audio quality that you guys are hearing on your phone or on your whatever, because when you can't go live from a desktop application on Instagram yet. I don't know why they haven't done that, but they really need to do that. Facebook owns Instagram. Facebook has done phenomenal with it. Maybe that's something they'll add this year, but we'll see. But if not, it's an awesome tool, and we need to use it at some point just to kind of make sure that it actually does work. That would be great. I hope everybody's had really good holidays. Did everybody have a good Christmas? Everybody gearing up for a big New Year's Eve tomorrow. We had a good Christmas around the house. It was a bit odd. This was I'm about to turn 43. This was the first Christmas since I was born that I did not spend with my parents. My mom got sick and was not able to make the trip over to Nashville. So it was odd not having the parents here for the first time. And my daughters, both of them, this is their first time not having their grandparents here on Christmas. So that was different, odd. Christmas Eve, I had my cousin, 3 of my cousins came over who now live in, one of them lives in New York. 2 of them live here in Nashville. They just moved. So they came over on Christmas Eve, and we kind of tried to do as much as we can with what we were doing. New subscriber, lady. Thank you so much. Let's see who's in here. Melanie Sue. Thank you for all of your advice. I have been observing your work for about a year. Awesome. Sincerely, Melanie Sue. Melanie, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel and checking out everything. And I'm glad you're enjoying the advice. If you're enjoying everything that you've witnessed so far, then you're really going to love what is going to happen coming up in 2020 and beyond. That was Lady Bryn who subscribed. Thank you for the subscription. We are going to do things even bigger and even better in 2020. Matter of fact, I was just over today, a little while ago, at the new podcast studio. We've done a couple in there, and I've just not gotten it the way that I really wanted it to be. So I've added more stuff to it. I feel like I do some of the stupidest things. This podcast studio, I swear to God, is going to be. It's cost me like $50,000. It feels like to this point, and we've been in there twice. But starting now. And well, not now, but starting the first week of January, next week's podcast, we will be in the new studio. Come hell or high water, we're going to be in the new studio. But I'm looking forward to that. We've got some great guests that are going to be coming up in the coming weeks. We've got the guys from Three Doors Down are going to be coming in for an episode of the podcast. I'm also going to have their manager, their tour manager, road manager with them, because I get a lot of questions about management. I get a lot of questions about road managers and, when do you need a manager? Do I need a manager? What does a manager do? What should I expect them to do? Well, I mean, what could be better than talking to the tour manager, road manager of one of the biggest rock bands out there? So I've got those guys coming in. James Otto and I are still trying to nail down a date, but he's going to come in. I've talked to my buddy Billy Falcon. He's going to be coming in. Just some really cool stuff that's going to be coming up in the coming weeks on the podcast. I'm really excited about it, both the audio versions and the video versions. There's been a lot of talk about what's going on with YouTube, and we were thinking about not putting the video version of the podcast on my actual YouTube channel, but making it separate. We're now not going to do that. I feel like the last 6 to 7 months have almost driven me crazy. Just being honest. Let's see. James Buchanan, what's up, buddy? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Hey, you texted me though. Did I not text you back? If I didn't, I'm sorry. Merry Christmas. Kevin Steverson's here, watching over here on YouTube. Awesome. It shows that you're on Facebook, though. Did you mean to say Facebook? I think you meant to say Facebook. Although you might be watching it on YouTube and have Facebook open and you made the comment there. A lot of different options there. One of the things that I want to know that helps me tremendously is knowing what kind of content that you guys would like to see, both podcast-wise and through the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel coming up this next year is getting a huge shot of adrenaline in the arm. I have been horrible. We were rocking and rolling with YouTube. We were adding, like 9 months ago, I think we added, 2,000 subscribers in a month, and I was really getting after it. And then it wore me out, and I kind of quit. But I've been looking around, and there's so many other people in this space, in the music business space, and quite honestly, just so much of what they're putting out there, it is such BS that it's not even funny. So I feel like that I'm not going to be able to live with myself unless I start putting truthful stuff out into the ether, out into the world. So we are going to ramp up the YouTube big time. But there's also going to be a lot of other stuff on the YouTube channel besides music-related and music business stuff, like tech stuff and camera stuff and all that stuff. Just I love it. I love tech gear and camera gear, cinematography. I love it. Matter of fact, I'm heading out to Salt Lake City, Utah, here in a week and a half, 2 weeks, to film some music videos out in Utah with my buddy Jacob Young. I just love doing that kind of stuff, and I'm passionate about it, but I enjoy that. I don't always enjoy the music business stuff, just because it's your day job kind of a thing. So I don't enjoy talking about it all the time, but I do enjoy cameras and stuff like that. So I'm going to go into deeper about that, but I'm also going to come at it from a point of, especially for songwriters and artists, how you can utilize tech and video and cinematography to really hone in and grow your career. Because if you're not aware, music is a visual format now. It's not just a music thing anymore. People choose what they're going to listen to by what it looks like, and more people discover new music and consume music on YouTube than they do just about any other platform. Spotify is huge, of course. Apple Music's huge, but YouTube, it's those three. It's YouTube, and so people like for the video to be there. Kevin says, perhaps when you get new gear, film some package openings. Oh, all of that's done, but here's the thing. It's all new for 2020, so I've not wanted to use any of it. Like for tonight or the podcast the other day or the podcast that will go live tomorrow. I'm not using any of it because it'll all start in 2020. But yeah, it's and some of it's new stuff, some of it's old. It's like there are no words to describe how much I love video gear. Like, there are no words. I probably have enough gear. I do own a film production company, but I have just as much gear, if not more, than most of the production companies in Los Angeles. Like high-quality gear. Red cameras, the very large drone. We've got it all. I just love it. Every time there's something new that comes out, I buy it because I love it. I absolutely love it. I finally got... I'm a huge Sony guy and Red and Sony guy, and I finally buckled in and ordered one of the new Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K cameras the other night, just because everybody loves them. We're going to try it out. We're going to see what it's like. But I love that stuff, so I want to explore more of it. I want to do more stuff like that, but I will find a way to weave it kind of into music stuff, if at all possible. So if you guys have any questions, you guys want to talk about anything in particular, you got any music business questions, what are you guys planning for 2020? We had a big podcast, one of the most popular podcasts of the year was a few weeks ago when we were talking about the next 90 days. I have gotten so much feedback on that episode, it's not even funny. Like I said, I think it was one of the most downloaded and streamed episodes of the year. With I think it's well over 200,000 now. So that seemed to really resonate with people about thinking about, what you're going to be doing. Here we are the day before New Year's Eve. We've got a brand new year. What are your goals? What are the things that you want to try to accomplish? What do you want to accomplish and do differently in 2020 that you didn't do in 2019? One of the things when I'm working with artists, or when I start working with an artist, that I find is what is continually keeping them down or not able to succeed the way that they would want to, is because they keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I've said it many times, but that's the definition of insanity, is doing things over and over again and expecting a different result. That's why things don't work. So what are you planning? What are you doing to do things differently in 2020 than you've done in 2019 or 2018 or before? That to me is of the utmost importance, no matter what you're doing. It didn't even have to do with music business, because I consult a lot of businesses that have absolutely nothing to do with the music business. And that's what I keep trying to tell them is stop doing the same thing over and over and over again. Come up with something new. And one of the huge things, kind of like I said earlier, is matching technology and what technology has to offer you with whatever it is that you're doing. I know when I started the podcast, I've said it before, I started it kind of as a joke because I wanted to do it. Because when I was a kid, I remember when I was 10, 11 years old, I wanted to be a DJ on the radio. That was the only thing I wanted to do. So at 13, I went to work for the local radio station in Little Rock, Arkansas. And for the next 15 years almost, I was in that business. I traveled all over the country doing morning shows and afternoon shows. I had a syndicated show. And I thought that's what I wanted to do until I realized that I got really high up on the ladder and I wasn't making any money. And then I realized, okay, so start writing and producing the music that you play on the radio. That's where the money's at. I was right. But that is where the kind of the reason that I started the podcast, because radio people say this, it's in your blood. Once a radio guy, you are always a radio guy in some form or fashion. So it's like when I started the podcast, I was kind of fulfilling that thing for myself. And then it kind of blew up and it kind of grew and became this thing. And even just doing the podcast has opened so many doors in my business. I've several businesses, but in my film production company, the artist development company, which is now leading into the Artist Development Academy. It's led into doing the Artist Development Masterclass. And, new subscriber. Man, I can't hardly read. Speaking of, all right, I got to admit something to everybody here. I couldn't read that on the screen. This is how old I'm getting. I now have readers. And see, had I been wearing my readers, I would have been able to read the screen. But that is how old I'm getting. Does that say Fari or Farrell? One of the two. Thanks for the subscription. But so anyway, matching technology with whatever it is that you want to do. Kevin Steverson, dude, with the books that you're doing, technology's there for you, man. I mean, those books are selling. You're doing very well with it. You need to, if you want to grow that side of your business and what you're doing, partner technology with those things. Because I'm telling you, podcasts, voice is the future. And I can't say it now because I've got one sitting here on my desk, but you can now even say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it anyway and see if it happens. I know it does it downstairs. I don't know, but now I can say, hey, Alexa, play the Steve Freeman podcast. Oh, good. She didn't do it. All right. But you can now do that, and voice is king. It is taking over. So a lot of what we're going to be doing in the future, like I said, is a combination of whatever it is that you're wanting to do. If you want to be successful in the music business, you need to have a strong understanding of technology, the social media networks, their algorithms, how they work, understanding video, because video is king. Video is preferred on all social media platforms. So how do you make that video look great? How do you make it engaging? And how do you make it speak to large numbers of people? I'm going to be putting some more time and effort and energy into into those sort of things as well. So, like I said, tonight I just want to get on, have some fun, talk with you guys, Q&A. I've got my trusty old Starbucks here. I really am looking forward to getting the live streams cranked back up and rolling every Monday night. I put on social media we were going to go live at 6:30, and I selfishly went on early because this is going to be hard for me to admit as a man, but I'm going to do it. I have watched and seen just about every show there is on Disney Plus, Apple TV, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. I've got them all. I've seen it all. And I was, the other night, I was really scraping the bottom of the barrel, and I'm like, I need a new show. I need something new that I can binge, that I can just sit down and watch. Please don't revoke my man card when I tell you the show that I started last week. I've seen it when I log in. I've seen it forever. And I'm finally like, damn it. All right. I'm going to play the first episode, and if I get into it, then it's something I'll stick with. If not, then I'll move on and I'll find something else. But the Starz original show Outlander has it's hooked me, and I'm in. And over the Christmas break, it's like we are opening presents. I'm like, all right, I got to get back to the Outlander. I mean, what's going to happen? So I have binged the first 2 seasons of Outlander in the last week, and now I started season 3 last night, and turn in the man card. It's not a guy show. It's just really not. But the story is phenomenal. And again, huge fan of cinematography. The landscape of where they shoot in Scotland is beautiful. It's absolutely stunning to watch. So I will turn in my man card. But that's what I'm currently binge watching is Outlander. So no spoilers for those, if anybody has watched the show and is up to date with it, like where it's at now, like it's season 5. I'm liking it though. Lady Brent says, they say the morning show on Apple TV is good. It is really good. I have to be honest with you, all of the Apple original TV shows are very good. I love the morning show. I love Truth Be Told. I think it's a great show. Let's see what else is on there. C took a little bit for me to bite into. It's different. I think they were trying to go for a Game of Thrones thing. They didn't quite get there. But look, the networks are dead. They have absolutely no chance against what Apple TV, what Disney Plus, what Netflix and Hulu and Amazon are doing. They are on another level. I watched all of The Mandalorian, and The Mandalorian though was losing me dramatically about episode 5. And I'm like, well, I'm going to finish it because I started it. And I'm not a quitter. It's why I won't quit smoking, because I'm not a quitter. But then the finale, Friday, it got me back into it. So now I'm anxious to see Jon Favreau's come out, and they have confirmed there will be a season 2. But I really liked it. So what else is on Disney Plus, the new stuff? I don't remember. The Jeff Goldblum thing, I've watched a few of those. That's really good. There's just a lot of good TV out now, but most of the really good stuff is coming from Netflix and Disney Plus and Apple TV. Like I said, I've really enjoyed all of the new. Oh, I tell you what, there's one Apple TV one that I have not started yet. What's it called? Servant, the M. Night Shyamalan show. I have not started watching it yet. So I need to kind of get caught up on that. But I get a brief once a week since I write a lot of songs and produce a lot of music for TV and film. I get a brief once a week, and it tells me upcoming television shows that are in production that I might want to write or produce music for. And I can tell you, there is some amazing television coming in 2020. If I thought 2019 was amazing for that, the streaming platforms just took over, but 2020 is on another level. Some, just especially the last few months on Netflix with like The Irishman and Marriage Story and some of those. I mean, it is likely when the Academy Awards come around, we may see a streaming platform original movie win an Oscar. More than likely, like for Best Picture. And that's how big this stuff's becoming. But I can tell you what I've been told with some of the actors and some of the companies and some of the shows that are in production right now that will be coming out in 2020 and 2021 are unbelievable. The star power. There used to be that whole stigma about film actors didn't like doing TV and TV actors always want to do film. And man, all those barriers are getting broken down. I was talking to my buddy Jacob Young the other day about that. And he's done major films, he's done television shows, he's done commercials, and to him he's like, look, work is work. I don't care what size screen it appears on. I enjoy working. I'm an actor, so I enjoy acting. So it doesn't really matter to me which format. And now, like I said, with the streaming platforms, it's just unbelievable. I was also watching another show. The Dublin Murders on Starz. I've been watching this son of a bitch for however many ever weeks, 8 weeks or so. I have to say, if you're watching it, no spoilers, but I was not real happy with the way that it ended. Not like, I was expecting this big, it was leading up to this major thing, and then the major thing never happened. So I was a little disappointed with that. But for the most part, everything I've been watching lately, I've just really been enjoying it. The quality of it is so good. It's not like regular TV. I don't remember the last time I watched like a television show on like regular TV. I don't even know. I can't even think of the last show. Maybe Last Man Standing. Maybe that's the last thing that I really watched on regular TV. It's all streaming stuff now. It seems to be where the best content. But again, I'm running and getting close to the bottom of the barrel. So if anybody's watching anything that you're really into, let me know about it. Type it in the chat and let me know so I can check it out because I need some new stuff. Now, the second season of You came out on Netflix on Friday. I started watching it. I don't think it's as good as season 1 so far, but I'm only like 4 episodes into it. That guy's just weird and creepy. And the fact is, there are people out there just like this guy. And he's just a little weird. But yeah, that's what I've been doing on the break is I've been trying to get caught up with some of the shows that I like, or even the new stuff. Man, seems like a couple weeks ago there was just a dump of brand new stuff, and it's almost hard to keep up with. But that's kind of what I've been doing is enjoying doing that and getting stuff ready for the new studio. What is that? Like the Last OG on Netflix. I'll have to check that out. I have not watched that. I've not scraped that far to the bottom of the barrel. Last OG. I'll have to check that out. I'm always up for good suggestions because late at night, like my brain won't turn off. So the only thing I can do is sit down and watch TV. So I like doing that. I did watch Gemini Man the other night. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. I'm a Will Smith fan, though. It's like the film could have sucked, and I would have liked it. I thought it was good. Charles Thorne, hello from Tulsa. Good to see you, Charles. Hello from Nashville. Tulsa, Oklahoma. I have not been to Tulsa, Oklahoma in a long time. Have been there several times, but have not been there in a while. Where is everybody from? Well, I know a few of you, so I know where most of you are, but some of you I don't know where you are. Type in the chat where you are so that I know. I've never been to Utah before, so I'm looking forward to going to Utah here in a couple of weeks. I've actually been thinking about this. I know it sounds weird, but I've been thinking about moving to Utah. And leaving when we leave Nashville. Zapper 2K, what's happening, buddy? Good to see you. We've talked about LA because I'm in LA so much. My daughter's going to be going to college in the Northeast. So it's like we don't want to get too far away. But Utah, because in Utah, see, it's a 40 minute flight from Salt Lake City to Los Angeles, and it's like $75. So I can be in LA. If I want to be there in the afternoon, I can leave Salt Lake City and be in LA in 35 minutes. So, and Post Malone now lives in Utah. We were looking at some places just down the street. It seems like everybody seems like we want to move out now. You know, we were talking the other day, when we moved to Nashville, there in the metro area, there was like 800,000 people. There's like 1.9 million people here now. So like 1.2 million people have moved here since I moved here 15 years ago. And it's just not the same place anymore. I want to be out a little bit. Lady Brand's from Elizabeth City, North Carolina. Very cool. I don't know that I've been there. Last year I went to, where did I go? Was it Charlotte? Maybe a little north of Charlotte. I was in North Carolina. It was my first time in North Carolina. I know where you're from, James. Tulsa has a great live music scene. It really does. I had a band that was signed to our record label years ago that headlined the was it Rocklahoma Festival? I didn't go to the festival. They went to the festival, but I didn't go. But I've been there many times on business and working with artists in North Texas, and it's a great area. Absolutely great area. Don't like the tornadoes, but a great area. Ismail says, hi, and New Year's resolutions, stop with bad New Year's resolutions. I don't do resolutions anymore. I really don't. I set goals for the next year, but I don't really subscribe and believe in resolutions. When we do create them, we end up we self-impose unrealistic expectations, and then we just get down on ourselves when we don't achieve them. So I don't think I've ever made a New Year's resolution that I was actually able to keep. Like many years ago, it's like, okay, New Year's resolution, I'm going to quit smoking. I hadn't done that. You know, I'm not going to do this, and I end up doing it. I mean, it's just, I just don't believe in it. Goals, absolutely. I believe 100% in creating solid but obtainable goals for yourself. I think that's extremely important. But yeah, I agree with you. Stop with the bad New Year's resolutions. I agree 1,000%. I'm looking forward to 2020. I got to be honest with you. Going into 2019, I saw somebody put something on social media the other day, and it was like 2019. Well, I didn't kill you, did I? And it was almost that kind of a year. It was like no, nothing big, but then nothing horrible. It was just kind of there, and my God, damn, did it go by fast. I mean, am I the only? I feel like we were just here like 3 months ago, and we were going into 2019. This year went by incredibly fast. And I have a theory that as your kids get older, the years go by faster. I think it's just a thing. So it's like it's hard to believe. I've got one going to college, and it's just 2 teenagers. It's hard to believe because I don't feel that old. I mean, sometimes I do, but most of the time I don't feel like I'm that old. But the days are clicking by pretty quick here lately. But I was not excited per se about 2019, but 2020 I am. It's like, you know, when you've got a very clear vision of what it is that you want to do and what you want to accomplish, and especially for me because I'm changing directions sort of, you know. Coming to terms with, you know, not really caring about writing songs anymore. I just don't care if I do and don't care if I don't. I'm enjoying doing so many other things, you know. Backing off on producing records. Not going to do nearly as many records this year as I've done in years past. I'm going to narrow that down quite a bit. But I've also got things on the horizon that I'm looking forward to that fall into that kind of category. What are you guys looking forward to for 2020? I'm anxious to hear some of the things you guys want to accomplish. Charles says, take it from someone in his 60s. As you get older, the years begin to roll much faster. I'm telling you, Charles, I don't know what it is. They just go by faster. It's like on one hand, sometimes it feels like that it's like they take forever. And then sometimes, here's what I've been noticing. Sometimes it feels like the weeks last forever, but the months and the years go by very quickly. Like it was a couple of weeks ago, I was like, will this week ever end? But it's a bigger part of this year that's just steamrolled. It is just literally steamrolled. I'm hoping 2020 is one of those years where you just sort of feel like it's a little bit slower, just a little bit slower pace. And I mean, I think for me, it's all rushing to trying to get to a certain point. A lot of big decisions, like I said, you know, I really want to leave Nashville. I don't really want to live in Nashville anymore. And where we want to go. You know, I know I'm going to be in Utah. I'm going to take a look at Utah. We just in October we went to Connecticut, we went to Maine, we went to New York, Boston. And looking all around that area, and I've spent a large majority of the last 10 years in Los Angeles, so that's always an option, but then it's like some, you know, bad stuff going on out in L.A. too. And so I think for me, I'm ready to get to a point where I feel settled. I haven't felt settled in a very long time. That was one of the awesome things about being in the radio business was every 2 or 3 years you moved to a new city. And I mean, that's been 22, 23 years ago, but I still remember what that was like, is that, you know, you weren't ever really committed to one spot, and you were able to have that freedom every few years of going somewhere new to see where you fit in. And it's like, now we've been in Nashville for so long. We've done everything in the world that we could possibly do to plant roots here and make this home. And not that it's not, but it kind of not at the same time. It's just Nashville has changed so much. It's not even funny. I mean, it just, I can't even stand to go downtown anymore. I stay as far away as humanly possible. As far away. The business itself has changed so much that the establishment and the way things were for so many years is not anymore. So a lot of the because I'm at the point right now where, and I told my wife this the other day, I can do what I do from anywhere. We don't have to live in Nashville. If I'm producing a record and I want to do it in Nashville, I can fly into Nashville. If I want to do it in Los Angeles, I can fly into Los Angeles. But 90% of what I do, I can do from anywhere. So we don't, and I never go downtown. So it's like we could live where we live right now, but in wherever, Montana, and it wouldn't matter. So I know as time passes that it's like that's starting to become ever clear. And now you realize when you pass 40 that you're now on the downhill slide. You're not climbing up anymore. You have crested, and you're now on the other side. So it's like, how's this half of your life going to be led? What are you going to do with this half? And I had an amazing first half, but I want the second half to be even better. Bigger and better. And more on my terms, I think, for me. That's why I think I have a place in my heart for independent artists, because I always wanted to do things my way. I did not like the establishment. I play within the establishment and within the industry to serve my own ends, to serve my own purpose. But I realized a long time ago that I do not play politics very well. I don't kiss people's ass. And those are not qualities that fit into the quote-unquote major label mainstream music industry. That's why I love working with independent artists so much, because I'm living proof you don't have to be a part of that whole thing to be as successful as you want to be. There are many different ways to be successful in this business. But now, things are even better than they were like 10 years ago in our business. And I certainly don't have to be in Nashville to do that. Podcast is what's up, man. Bandrew in the house. Hope you're doing well too, man. I was watching some of your stuff earlier today. If you guys you love watching gear reviews, especially microphones, which is Bandrew's thing. Review all kinds of microphones inside and out and give you the lowdown. You need to subscribe to Podcastage. Telling you. When I do gear reviews, I do them from a use perspective, and I'm not good with the technical stuff at all. And a lot of times I don't even care about the technical specs, even though it's important for you to know. I just talk about the sound, if it's the sound that I want or not. But Bandrew is amazing at the details and at the specifics. And you need to go over there and subscribe to his channel and check it out, because he will give you the lowdown. Bandrew says, yes, being an indie and on your own terms is the way to do it. As the last line of SLC Punk said, you can do a hell of a lot more damage inside the system than you can outside of it. And that's the truth. It is, you would be amazed to know at the number of major label artists that I've worked with that I don't claim to have worked with them, because the work that I did with them had to be from the inside without their label knowing, because they had no idea what they were doing. And most every successful thing that you see going on right now, even though it may be a major label effort, it is more the independent methods, schemes, and plans and style of promotion that is going on to perpetuate a lot of the success that you're seeing now. It's not so much anymore the record label just spends tons and tons and tons of money, which they still do. They believe they have to do that. And I'm all for it because I'm hoping one day they just spend themselves out of money. So, which is very difficult for them to do, but nonetheless, they're having to adopt to a lot of the philosophies that I use. I know for a fact one of the labels here in Nashville just flat out stole one of my, I had created a plan for this artist. They came to me and said, hey, will you create me an artist development program, a schedule? Like, I want to do Facebook ads, Instagram ads, do my record, 4 music videos. How do we release them? What's the timing? And where do we need to spend ad dollars? And I create and put together this entire program. And they marched it straight over to their record label. And the record label's using it. And now the record label's using it for like 5 of their artists. And this is a major label. And it's like, there's a lot of that goes on too. And I'm, part of the reason I think I feel the way that I do about the business is because that happens time after time after time after time. And you get tired of it. I don't have time to be used. And so I've kind of insulated myself into a position now where it's really not possible for you to do that. Because I do have, toot my own horn here, but I do have a big heart, and I do want to see everybody reach the level of success that they want to reach, as long as it's within reason and well within the realms of obtainable. I'm all for that, and I love to see people succeed. But I will say over the last couple of years, I've gotten to the point where good old Steve's not the guy that's just going to do it for you anymore. I just can't. And that, matter of fact, we're live on all these different platforms, but YouTube is where it kind of started for me in creating educational content for independent artists. Because I think it's important. I think it's important that whether you own a small business, it doesn't have to do anything with the music business, but music business artists and songwriters specifically. I don't think that you get anywhere or grow by somebody telling you broad strokes, by this is the way that it's done, or this is the way that you should do this, when that might have been the way 10 years ago, but they're just regurgitating what they've been told and what they've heard. But the space is so full of people right now that they're just saying what they've heard, or they've watched another person on YouTube, so they're going to do a YouTube video on how to do this, or how to get your music in TV and film when they've never done it. And that's, I see a lot of that right now. And man, does it frustrate me. It really gets all over me when you sit there, and I was watching a guy the other day, and he keeps talking about all of these songs that he's produced, and they've been in the top 40 on Billboard, which doesn't mean shit. Unless you've been in the top 10, top 20 at the most, nobody fucking cares. But there's no specifics. This band, this artist, this song, no specifics whatsoever. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I think that it is important and of the utmost importance that people be credible, not just present. And so one of the reasons that I backed off tremendously from the YouTube channel was that, look, I'm not going to create or compete with a bunch of people who just are on there to try to get a lot of numbers on YouTube. Now, yes, they may be involved in the industry at some level, and I'm not saying that they're not successful, but they've certainly never done anything that the greater public, if you were buying something from them based on their credentials, you wouldn't buy anything from them. But for whatever reason, people are lining up to listen to them on YouTube as if what they have to say is relevant, even though what they're trying to tell you has never proven fruitful for themselves. So that's why I backed off. But in 2020, it's like, you know what? Fuck it. Get back on the horse, and I'm not going to compete with those people, but I'm going to continue to put out correct and information that is, whether you like it or not, whether you like my approach or not, it is the real raw truth. It is the way that it is. I have no problem telling anybody out there that wants to be a songwriter, you are probably not going to make it. I don't need to sell you a series or get you hooked on a YouTube channel and tell you how to be a better songwriter. The facts are you probably are not going to make it. Just the way that it is. Now, that being understood, and that's where we start. Now, if you want to be a better songwriter and you want the tools to help you in your effort to try to get there, I'm more than happy to help you. But I'm the guy that's going to be real with you and tell you that you have a better shot of winning the lottery or getting struck by lightning than you do of becoming a hit songwriter in today's music business. Things were a lot different 15 years ago when I started. A lot different. Relationships were a huge part of it. Relationships are still a huge part of it. But the dynamic has changed. So for people to try to educate and talk to people about being successful under the guise of how things were 10 years ago is useless, and it doesn't work. And I cannot create the kind of content that those guys are creating, guys and girls are creating, because I just know it leads to false hope for 99.999% of you. And that's not doubting anybody's talent. And understand that. When I say that you have literally no chance of being successful or being, I mean, I hate to say not successful because there's so many ways of being successful. But when I say that with a filter coming out of what so many artists and songwriters have said to me and what they believe and they perceive as successful to be. The likelihood of you obtaining that is slim to none, and Slim left town 10 years ago. But if you want to be successful, completely different. But what that's going to require is for you to have a correct and adequate, realistic, obtainable definition of what you think success is. That's a huge part of it. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on with the YouTube channel. It is ways for you to be successful within the parameters of the way the business operates today, and also looking at outside the box methods for you to be successful. None of you guys are going to write a single for Keith Urban. None of you are going to write a single for Tim McGraw, unless James Otto's watching, and he has and probably will again. But that is a different ball game. I said once, and I don't remember where it was, the people that are responsible for making that sort of success happen, and here's let me say this before I go on. The likelihood that I ever do that again is just as low as yours. Now, yes, I have a lot more contacts than you do. I have the track record of writing hit records and producing hit records, but the business has changed so much that a lot of the relationships that I have to do that for myself, I'm not using those for that anymore, and I don't know if they're any good. The parameters of how things have done have just changed so much. But also, I'm not keeping up the work because, like I said, I don't care if I ever write another song. So I certainly don't care if I ever write another hit song. I just don't care. It's not what I'm passionate about. It's not what I'm chasing. It's not what I want to do. As a matter of fact, it is the last thing in the world that I want to do. So for me, it's just all about success and having a different global definition of that. Charles says, I have spent the last few years learning as much as I can about the entertainment music business. Your class is helping tremendously. My goal for 2020 is to get more active in the business. That's a great goal, Charles. That is a realistic and obtainable goal. That's tangible. You can do that. I'm glad the master class is helping you. By the way, The masterclass is free for one more month. It will not be free February 1st anymore. If you have not taken it, but you want to take it, let me see if it'll let me do this. I will put a link in the chat. Did it let me do that? It did. You can click on there and you can take the Artist Development Masterclass for free for the next month. So get on there and get busy. Luke M. Tech says, hey, Steve, Happy New Year, my friend. Happy New Year to you as well, Luke. Hope you had great Christmas holidays and everything was well. Podcaster says, that's the best way to do it. It's not a competition on YouTube. There's plenty of eyes to go around. If there's a lack of proper information out there, then there's a niche to be filled. I agree 100%. And I think it's a smaller audience, but I'm fine with that. So that is the approach that even I try to work songwriters and artists through, is that he who has the largest social media following will not win. None of that matters. You want a small but engaged group of people. That is really all that matters. And Bandrew says it best. That's exactly right. How many podcasts have I done over the last year about being unique and drilling down past all of the lookalike bullcrap and getting into a rhythm where you really find yourself as an artist, where you really find yourself as a creator. And niche is the perfect word for it. There's nothing wrong with not being globally acceptable. Matter of fact, the less globally acceptable you can be, and your target, imagine this. I'll paint the picture this way. Imagine a target like that you would go to a gun range and shoot, or even think of the Target store logo. Instead of practicing and doing everything you can do to make that red dot in the middle smaller and be able to hit it, why not make it bigger? Have you ever thought about that? Stop trying to make it smaller and be able to hit it. Grow it and make it bigger. And if more people would do that, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Twitch, whether it's an artist career or songwriter or YouTube, it doesn't matter. If you figure out your niche and you can drill down on that and you can find a loyal and engaged fan base, it's all that matters. All that matters. Speaking of, I don't know how many of you follow me on Facebook. I know probably most of you follow me on Instagram. If you don't, it's at the Steve Freeman. Then go follow me on Instagram. Matter of fact, it's at the Steve Freeman on all social media platforms. But I posted something on Facebook the other night because I don't get on Facebook very often, and there's a reason for that. I went in and deleted over 750 friends on Facebook. Because I know how the algorithms work on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. I actually know them very well. And I was noticing that I was seeing the same content over and over and over again. So I thought, okay, I'm really going to confuse the Facebook algorithm and it won't have any idea what to show me. So I went and deleted like 750 friends. My Facebook experience since I've done that has been awesome. I have started to be able to see and engage with content with people that I haven't been able to in 2 years. I'm now hearing from, they're now seeing my content when they weren't seeing it before. I'm seeing theirs. I'm doing the same thing on Instagram. I think I've deleted almost 5,000 people off of my Instagram in the last, 6 weeks maybe? I'm not interested in the number getting bigger. I'm interested in the number being more proportionate to the people who engage. That's what matters to me. I honestly, I don't know how many, what have I got? 24,900 followers on Instagram. I would rather have 350 followers on Instagram and 200 of them engaged by liking or commenting than have 24,900 and how many ever do. They've taken likes away now, so you don't even see that. It is all about engagement. 100% about engagement. I don't know if many of you have seen it, but there's a theory of 1,000 fans out there that you can make and have a 6-figure income, which I don't know. I'm not saying this to be any way whatsoever. I just living a normal life. I'm like, man, 6 figures, depending on where you live, that could really be a nice living, or it could be okay, but not much. But I know that most independent artists out there are not pulling in 6 figures. So let's go under that, guys. That 1,000 real fans, 1,000 engaged fans, if they each spend $100 a year, that's $100,000 that you make at the end of the year off of 1,000 fans. So imagine if you had 200,000 or 2,000 fans, 3,000 fans, 5,000 fans. And you can even look at some of these other artists and creators and streamers who have 1 million followers, but they don't make great money. It's because their fan base is not engaged. They're not real. They're just a number, just a like on Facebook or a follow on Instagram or Twitter. They don't mean a damn thing. Nothing. I can tell you, I can give you specific numbers. Take the Artist Development Masterclass, for example. All across social media, between YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, because I have not marketed this thing like with paid traffic, because I wanted to see about organic reach. I really wanted to see, I think out of all of them, I've got maybe 250,000 followers across all social media. And the podcast averages a little over 50,000 listeners per episode, streaming and downloads on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all of those combined. So I'm hitting a ton of people every month, right? There are let me click on this, refresh. Oh, there are 829 people. 829 people have signed up to take the Artist Development Masterclass for free. It's free. And out of over 200,000 people a month that listen to my podcast, 25,000 people on Instagram. I don't do Twitter. I think I got a couple thousand on Twitter. I don't Twitter well. I'm trying to get better. I just don't Twitter well. And I haven't done Facebook in a very long time. But you would think over a couple 100,000 people, right? 829 people have signed up for a free masterclass that has taken me hours and hours and hours and hours to put together. And I mean, there's Charles is in here. He's taking it. I mean, he will tell you how valuable he thinks it is. I don't know how valuable it is because I already know the information, so it doesn't feel valuable to me. For those of you that don't know the information or want to know how to do it better, and you're taking class, you can really tell people, what you think about the value of it. But that gives you a range, a number there. Over 200,000 people I expose to. I start to say I expose myself to every month. Over 200,000 people every month are exposed to my content and what I do. Natively, grassroots, no paid advertisement, none of that, no promotion, just my reach. Of those over 200,000 people, 829 have signed up to take the masterclass for free. Take a guess how many people are actively engaged in taking the course out of those 829. Type a number in the chat. If you're still with us, you're still watching, type a number into the chat. So 200,000 people, 829 of those sign up and register for the Artist Development Masterclass. Out of those 829, how many people do you think are actually taking the course? Because I have the number. Exactly. I know the name of every single person taking the course, where they are in the course. Are they in lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which ones they've completed, which ones they haven't. I know the exact number and the name of every person and where they are in the class. Charles says 100. Lady Bren says 11. Anybody else want to take a stab at it before I give you the number? Charles is a little closer. 144. 144 people are actively inside and taking the course out of 829 people that signed up for it, that registered. Now, there are a lot of different factors for that. I was thinking the other day, wait a minute, 830 people have signed up to take this thing, and there's 144 people actively taking it. And I thought, maybe they don't like the way that I'm dripping the lessons. Maybe they're waiting for all 7 weeks of it to get through, and then they can sit down and take the entire thing and one thing. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But I give you those numbers to give you exactly what we're talking about. So when you guys post something on social media, let's say you've got 1,500 fans, and you post a picture and you get 2 likes, that's what happens. It's not a representation or an accurate depiction of the quality of what it is that you're posting, or the quality of the single you put out, or the quality of the video that you put out. It is a numbers game. So think about it. I went through it in 3 steps. Think about it in these terms. I have a reach of over 200,000 people. 144 of those people are taking me up on a free offer. That's where the numbers game comes in. So mathematically, here's where paid traffic comes in. And this is why it's a big part of the Artist Development Masterclass, talking about marketing your music, where it's marketing your business. Paid traffic with Facebook, Instagram, and Google, and YouTube. All these other things come into play, because that tells me that if I want 288 people to be taking the course, I need to hit 400,000 people, right? So how do I get from hitting the 200,000 people that I can hit organically and get my 144, right? Is everybody following along here? You see where I'm going with this, right? Then you use paid traffic to reach the 400,000 to get 1,600 people to sign up to get 288 people to actually take the course. If you take that philosophy and you apply it to what it is you're doing with your business or your music career, or whatever it is, that's what you have to do. You have to understand the analytics behind what it is. So many people do not understand why, and I deal with this with artists who have large followings, or they put out, they have 500,000 followers on Instagram and 75,000 people on Facebook. They throw a single out to get for streams or downloads, and they sell 150 copies. They don't understand it. But I've got 500,000 people on Instagram. Very true. The problem is that out of the 500,000 people that follow you on Instagram, 50 of them give a shit. It's just the truth. So that's one of the things, and maybe this is a thing for you to think about moving forward in 2020, is don't concern yourself with growing your numbers. You want to grow the number of people who are organically driven to engage with you on some level. Now, you can argue that in order to get to the engaged people, you have to grow your numbers. But if you're really doing things the right way and you really start paying attention at what content people are engaging with, then you make more of that content, because that's going to engage both. That's going to accomplish both goals simultaneously. You're going to grow the overall number, but as you grow that overall number, you're going to be growing it within a group of people who tend to engage more. That's what I'm doing with YouTube. I know the exact, Bandrew and I we had a long Twitter conversation about it the other day, and Bandrew walked me off the ledge because, quite honestly, I sent him a text and I'm like, dude, my channel is fucked. That was the exact words I said. And he was like, no. Back down. There were some things that went on that I was not happy with my YouTube channel. Side note, be very careful who you give control to. Okay? Be very careful about who you give control to your career or Be very careful about the advice that you take. It's very important. But some things went on with my channel that I was unaware of and that I didn't know about. So when I took control back, I realized this shit had been going on, and it was really screwing with my channel. Like, I would put up a video. Like, a year ago, I'd put up a video. I'd have 6,000 views before in 3 hours. I can put up one now, and I'll have 100. And there have been some changes and things go on with the YouTube algorithm and all that, but I can't blame 100% of it on that. So my philosophy in going forward is to focus on my niche and focus on the content that I know delivers and that I know engages. Now, there's a lot of content that I believe needs to exist outside of just exactly what I know people are going to engage with, because you don't always know what people want to engage with, right? So a lot of that is going to be done through the Artist Development Academy, where there's going to be content. It's going to be just a plethora and overload of content. So whatever you choose to engage with, I don't care. I don't care which thing you're engaging with, because it's not about me. It's about a global system, a global effort, and more like a educational tool. You can take pieces from over here, whatever it is that means something to you, that's fine. I just hope that you get it from the Artist Development Academy. So that is going to be where we dump content galore, like unbelievably galore. And we're launching that on February 1st. I'm really excited about that. But for me personally, my stuff, I'm going to really drill down, and it's going to be highly targeted towards what I know people will engage with and or something that I'm passionate about. And I highly encourage you guys to do the exact same thing. Luke says, I just followed you on Instagram, deleted my Facebook a while ago. There's too much shady stuff. That's why I've stayed off of Facebook. I'm not Facebook's biggest fan. I will be the first to say it. I'm just not. I do not like all the political stuff. And for me, Twitter and Facebook is where 90% of the political stuff is, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like reading it. I don't like looking at it on either side. I don't. I do not rely on Facebook or Twitter, either one, or the opinions of the people that use those platforms to shape my own. I know what I believe. I know who I'm going to vote for. I just know. So I hate all that stuff. That's why I've stayed off. Steve, if you get a chance, check out Charlie Marie, some of the best authentic country music I've heard in a while. I will. I'm assuming Charlie Marie, that Charlie is a girl. I will check Charlie Marie out for sure. Speaking of, how would you guys, just because I'm exploring here, I'm fishing, so I'm throwing the line out in the water here. I'm really enjoying on YouTube some of these reaction channels. Now, I don't want to become a reaction channel, but how would you guys feel about from time to time, if we either did a live stream or I did a video where you guys would suggest people for me to check out on YouTube, and we check them out together, and I give you my opinion and what I think about it. If that's something you think you would enjoy, especially when it comes to music stuff, we might, give an audience to a new artist or whatever. I was thinking about it the other day, and I thought maybe that would be kind of fun. I don't want to be critical. I don't like to give criticism, and I certainly don't want to be mean, or I don't want to be rude, but I will be honest about what I think. So if you guys find or discover people and you want to do that, we might do that on a live stream, maybe coming up here in a couple of weeks, and just see how that works out. Podcast just says, yes, agree. That looks like 1,000,000%. That's what we're going to go with. And that may be 10,000,000%. Or is that 100,000,000%? It's a shitload. My goal last year and this year is to not grow my following, but ensure I'm creating content for people who already followed me and subscribed. See, Bandra, I think that is so important, because too often, and this is a big problem in the music business, we are so anxious about getting the new fan that most artists don't serve the ones they already have. And I'm assuming that that's an issue on YouTube, that's an issue on Twitch. It is getting really fucking hot in here. I'm going to take this jacket off. I'm assuming that is a problem because we all get so focused on more. It's always got to be more. We're not ever happy with where things are. We think we'll be happy when we get them where we want them to be. And, I mean, I know for me, I've done that in the past. I mean, I've done that recently. It's hard not to get caught up in that way of thinking. It really is. Because for those of us that do what we do professionally, our thing is, okay, well, the more people, the more reach. The more reach, everything that comes along with that. But that doesn't mean that it's right. You are 100% correct. That keeping and entertaining or being of value to people that are already in and have already taken a seat, they've got to come first. Those people have got to come first. Lady Brent says, I like Instagram better than Facebook. Me too. Instagram's what I put all my work into. I like it more. I like it a lot better. Luke says, I'm all about the music. I used to be. I'm not, and y'all know this, I'm just not as passionate about music as I used to be. There are a lot of times that I wish I had not done this for a living. I had done anything but went into the music business. Just being honest. And I told somebody the other day, if I could make the money that I make selling cars, I would probably go sell cars. Just because I feel that that's where the business is right now. But I can't, so I'm not. But I would like to get to a point where Luke, I would like to get to that point where it really was all about the music for me. And I kind of am doing that with what I'm doing with the records that I'm going to be producing. I really am only taking on projects that interest me, and that I feel like I want to be a part of, and that I can grow from, and the artist can benefit from. So, I mean, I guess to a certain extent, I'm kind of doing that. Andrew says, yes, I love some reaction channels a lot. The ones I enjoy are adding value and commentary to the video, so long as you aren't just sitting there saying, wow, cool. Oh, no, I get that. I found a couple of those too, and it was like, wow, you're just really not adding anything to the conversation. You are really literally just reacting. There's no commentary. You're just talking. But yeah, I never thought that in all honesty is something that I thought I would enjoy. But I do enjoy hearing other people's takes on it and like what they think about it and when they really get into it. It's like I say, it's a fine line for me because I don't want to be critical. I don't like being critical of other people. I don't like tearing down what somebody does. And that's a fine line for me because when somebody says, hey, tell me what you think about this, I'm like, okay, be careful of what it is that you're asking, because if you're asking, I'm going to tell you. And I'm not the guy that's going to be like, I'm going to tell you and I'm going to sugarcoat it or think that, well, I don't want to be rude, so I'm not going to say what I will honestly tell you what I think. So, and it's funny, sometimes I get emails from people, they're like, hey, will you listen to this and tell me what you think? And my email back to them is not yes or no, it's, are you 100% for sure that you want me to tell you what I think? Because I think a lot of times people send something and they want me to, I don't know if they want my approval or not. I'm not like trying to put myself on a pedestal, but I think they assume that I'm going to be nice and go, hey, that was great. That sounded great. And when they get an email back from me, it was like, the mix on that was shit. It's not really good. And the song's really not that good either. then it's like you just destroyed somebody. And I don't want to do that either. I want any criticism that I ever give out or hand to anybody to be corrective and constructive. I don't want it to be destructive. That's not my goal, and that is not my thing, and I do not like doing that at all. That's why most of the time I avoid any type of that whatsoever. And when I do a lot of that now, it's in my coaching and mentoring sessions, because it's kind of an understood thing. Okay, you're coming to me, I'm going to give you my professional opinion, and it's not a, hey, what do you think about this? And expect me to praise something that I don't find praiseworthy. Now, if it is, I will absolutely praise them left and right if it's good. And that's just the way that I am. But if it's not good or I don't like it, I'm going to let you know. But here's the other thing to remember about that. That is just my opinion. It doesn't mean that it's not good or that it's not great. It's just my opinion. If I had $1 for every time I had written a song that my publisher or a record label said no to, that ended up getting cut and ended up making a lot of money, I'd have a shit ton. It's an opinion. It's not fact. When you ask somebody for their opinion, it is just that. It is an opinion. It is not fact. And that is something that you've got. I think I did a video or podcast episode not long ago about having a music business skin. And that's what really goes into that. It's about being thick-skinned. You have to have a thick skin in this business, not to deal with facts and truths, but to deal with people's opinions. My opinion is not fact. What's your favorite album of the year? Hollywood's Bleeding, Post Malone. By far. Favorite artist of the year? Post Malone. Favorite concert I went to? Post Malone, Madison Square Garden. Favorite concert I'm going to go to in 2020? Post Malone. Bridgestone, Nashville. I can't. That guy's amazing. And you may not get his music, and again, it's my opinion, but I am 100% in on Post Malone. 100%. The guy is a genius. He is a genius. That genius may be tough to accept because of his quirkiness and his outward appearance, but once you get past all of that and realize who he really is and what he's capable of, it's unbelievable. It is literally unbelievable. I did a whole episode on going to the concert at Madison Square Garden in New York. I have been in this business for many years, 20 plus years. I have seen every major act. I either know them, have worked with them, or have at least seen them in concert. Everybody. I have, and most of the time they've got tons of pyrotechnics and lights, and you've got a full band, and then, a lot of the female artists, they change clothes, it becomes a stage show. It's all this going on. I have never been more impressed in my entire life than sitting there in Madison Square Garden watching Post Malone captivate. It was sold out. I don't know how many people Madison Square Garden holds, 27,000, 20,000, I don't know. He held every single person in that arena captive by himself. On the stage with a microphone by himself. No props. Yeah, there were lights, and then towards the end there were some pyrotechnics and some, but it added to the music. It was not show to distract you from what was really going on, and that he wasn't really singing or any of that. It wasn't any of that. This guy, he's a fucking kid. He's 20, early 20s. Stepped onto that stage and captivated everybody, including me, a very harsh critic, of somebody that is in the business and has been very successful in the business. I'm also very jaded against the business. He broke through in the first 3.5 minutes. He broke through all of that with me. And I don't believe in streaming, and I don't do all that. I buy. So I will buy every record that guy ever puts out. Ever. Now, we are going to see Celine Dion January 13th, I think it is, the day before I go to Utah. And I'm looking forward to seeing Celine. But definitely Hollywood's Bleeding is by far my favorite record of the year. How many of you are shocked that Hollywood's Bleeding is my favorite record of the year and it's not a country artist? So many people think, and I guess it's because I've done so many country records that people just automatically assume that that's my thing. And I'm not saying that it's not, but I got to be honest with you, it's way up there. Scott Stapp from Creed did a new record this year that was really, really good. Richard Marx put out a new single this year and has a new album coming out that's going to be phenomenal. If you're a Richard Marx fan, you're not going to want to miss it. It's great. He's got a new single out right now. I think it's called Another One Down. And it's phenomenal. It's awesome. I mean, the guy is immensely talented. He has written so many songs that you don't realize he's written, that you have loved, not Richard Marx songs, but for other people, for Keith Urban, and the list goes on, for NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys. I mean, just the hits are just unbelievable. The songs that he's written. Whitney Houston, I think, just a ton of stuff. But I think 2020 is going to be a great year for music. I think 2020 is going to be a breakthrough year for artists that you haven't heard from in a while. That is my big prediction for 2020, is that I think we're going to have a year of nostalgia. I think we're going to see a lot of acts like Richard Marx and Scott Stapp, and I bet Evanescence has a new record. I know they did the thing with Gears of War 5. But I think you're going to see a resurgence from a lot of 80s and 90s and early 2000 artists. I think 2020 is going to be a really big year. Even just on the face of it, it being 20 years since the year 2000, there's always a 20-year mental thing that goes on, and people want to go back and relive and re-experience. So I think you're going to see a huge resurgence of that. And then when you go back even further, you go back to 1980, it's been 40 years, which is just, God, it is hard to believe. But I think this is going to be, I think it's twofold. I think 2020 is going to be a breakout year for independent artists, and I think that 2020 is going to be a huge year for heritage artists making their way back into the system and coming out with some really great music. That's my prediction for 2020. I am not going to the Grammys this year. I voted. Anybody want to guess on what I voted for Album of the Year? Posty got most of my votes, most of my Grammy votes this year. I did vote for some outside the box stuff because I always like to do that. And it always helps, like when I have something that's nominated, I can always call on other people and be like, hey, 2019, 2017, I voted for this for you. Can you vote? That's how that shit's done. Okay? Those of you that don't know, it's all bartered. The numbers that win Grammys, CMA Awards, ACM Awards, all that shit is barter behind the scenes. Everybody gets together and the emails fly like you wouldn't believe. Hey, I'll vote for you in this category if you vote for me in this category. That's how all of that shit goes down. It's all bought and paid for, pretty much. I've never had somebody buy my vote, but you get what I'm saying. It's, hey, I know you're nominated over here in this category. I'll vote for you if you vote for me in this one over here. Or you'll get a record label that has, like me, I have one vote. But like there may be a record label who has maybe 15 different Recording Academy members on their staff. And so they've got 15 votes. Well, they'll come and say, hey, we'll vote all 15 of ours, or a portion of our 15, or 5 of ours for yours. If you'll vote your one vote over here, that's the way that it's done. I hate Grammy time every year when the ballots go out, because my email just is nuts with people sending, I'll vote for yours if you vote for mine. Because of David Aldo. Well, what are you talking about, Kevin? Amy Lee, one of the great voices. Oh, Amy Lee. I went to school with Amy Lee. Worked with her dad at a radio station in Little Rock. Amy was awesome when she was 10. She just always had it. I would love to hear Evanescence do a real record again. Oh yeah, well, I mean, David plays a part of that. I think David and I were having a long conversation the other night about music, and that's David and I have not. We did nothing in 2019. We were talking about that as well. 2000, because we had a number one record together in 2018, one in 2017, one in 2016. We didn't do anything in 2019. We are going to be doing something in 2020. I can promise you that. We worked on some stuff, but we just never really got it to the point where either one of us wanted to put it out. We just didn't feel like the time was right. But 2020, we're going to, David Aldo and I will have music out. And when I say that, it'll be something that he and I have written and I produced, but David will be the artist. Because I know it's important to him, especially overseas in South Africa and the UK and other places around the world. Not so much here. That's the other thing, boy. I wish independent artists would realize that the music business is actually a global economy, and what happens in the United States is really a small percentage of what's possible around the world. I'll give you. We did some math earlier, and I know all of you didn't know that we were going to do math tonight. I didn't put in the description that there was going to be math, but I want you to think about this for a second. You can try and 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 beat your head against the brick wall to have a hit in the United States where you make $1 million. It's still possible. It's still possible. But isn't it, don't you think, a lot easier to make $100,000 in 10 other places, or $10,000 in 100 other places? Think about that in terms of, like we were talking about earlier, the engaged fan base, 1,000 true fans. We get so confined in thinking that the music business and success in the music business has to be something that came from Nashville, New York, Los Angeles, Atlanta, or Miami. And that if it's not successful in the United States, then that means it's not successful. It's just not true. There's so much money to be made with music around the world. Go release a single worldwide. Put a decent marketing budget behind it and make $6,500 out of each country on just songwriting royalties. Just songwriter royalties alone. No sales, nothing. Just songwriter royalties. And in each country, you make $6,500. Do that in 10 countries at $65,000. Do that in 20 countries, it's $130,000 off of one song. So many different, I say it, I keep thinking somebody someday will listen. And that is, it all depends and matters on what your definition of success is. Podcast is doing math. I would have jumped in even earlier had it been in the description. I totally should have said, hey, live math from Nashville. That's great. I like that. So, yeah. A lot of different ways to skin a cat. I don't even know if I can say that anymore on YouTube. Have y'all seen that thing on Netflix? I haven't watched it yet. I've seen it, and I saw, Bandrew, was it you that did something about that? Or somebody did. I saw something where somebody's like, that is one of the hardest things I've ever watched. There's this weird thing on Netflix about cats and ungodly things. Apparently. I have not watched it. I don't know. Might check it out. All right. Anybody got any questions? What time is it? 7:47. So we've been on for about an hour and 50 minutes. Charles says, I have 2 artist friends who play for $100 a night in bars here, but go to Europe and Japan for a 4 to 6 week tour and make big bucks with television coverage everywhere. Exactly. And do they really care one way or the other if they are quote unquote successful or famous in the United States? Probably not. It's all in what you deem valuable. And to me, I love only seeing people at the bank. I don't need to go to all of the I quit going to all of the industry parties. I quit going to the Grammys. I quit going to the CMAs. I quit going to the ACMs. I quit going to number 1 parties. I quit going to every industry event that I could possibly go to. Because for the most part, I don't like the people. I'm not a bullshitter, so I don't sit around and just talk with people, because and this may be a fault of my own, but when I have a conversation with somebody, I have a goal and an outcome in my mind of how I need that to serve me. I have no reason or business going in and shooting the shit, as they say, with people. Talking about, hey, we ought to. Be at my house at 9 o'clock in the morning if you want to. That's the way that I am. And that's one of my biggest problems with the business now is we set meetings and we get together to talk about what we might do in the future, but in order to get there, we need to sit down and book another meeting. And then that meeting, we sit around and talk about when we can get... I like to do. I don't like to talk about it. I don't like to put things off. When I get something in my mind that I want to do, nothing will stand in my way to get to it. And that's why I don't think that, I'm kind of a round peg to a square hole when it comes to the business anyway, because I don't play that game. I don't like that game. There are a lot of people that are really good at it. They play it really well. They can orchestrate the strings and be the puppet master, and I'm not. I'm just not. If there's not something in it and there's not an immediate payoff, I'm out. I don't care. That's it, podcasters. Don't F with cats. That documentary is so God. I'm assuming, is it really God or is it good? Luke says, are you a Brandi Carlile fan? Not really. Being honest, not really. There's not really any, I'm going to take shit for this. There's no female artist out there that I'm just like, wow, that does something for me. It's not. I just feel like they're carbon copies of each other. They're all chasing around doing the exact same thing. Every time there's one that comes out that's a little bit different, then you've got 3 of them right behind her. But to me, there's no difference in Brandi Carlile, Lindsay L., Maren Morris. There's 9 of them. Pick one. I like Brandi Carlile as much as I like any of the rest of them. If I'm going to listen to a female artist that's relevant today, I'll listen to Adele. Because she's brilliant. The songwriting is brilliant. She doesn't rely on getting on Instagram and showing her tits and her ass to get people to like what it is that she does. Did you see her performance on the Grammys? I didn't watch. I mean, maybe I should be a little bit more open-minded and check some of that stuff out, but it's just I've seen it, and it's music is so hard for me to be passionate about being in the industry at the level that I'm at it, because I see through the facade and I know what goes on behind the scenes. I know that that performance was paid for, and it's like that. Sometimes all of that keeps me from finding and identifying and really enjoying artists and their music, because I have no respect for how they got there. That's a big one with me, and maybe I'm wrong about that, and I'm willing to admit that. I could be totally wrong, but that's how I am about it. I know all of the bartering and the bullshit that went on backstage, and I know they're only there because this person gave this so this person could do that, and then this. And I don't like the game. I don't like the game, and maybe this is pretentious on my part, but because I have such disdain for the game, I have the same disdain for the people that willingly play it. That's just honest. That's as honest as I can possibly be. It's like, if you want to bend over and take it, that's fine, but the rest of us don't have to watch it. And it puts it at such a place where I lose such respect for the artist for being and doing whatever the people tell them to do, doing whatever their managers or their record labels want them to do, no matter what it is, just so they can get it. It's that whole thing of selling your soul. And the artists that do it, I just don't have respect for them. I don't. And unfortunately, people like Brandy, who I'm certain is a phenomenal artist, and does her thing well. The problem is that the true artistry, especially with female artists, they have to do so much more, jump through so many more hoops. Because the last thing the music business wants is another female in it. Look, you can berate me for saying that, but it's the truth. I've said it before. The last thing the world needs is another female country singer. It's literally the last thing. I can throw a rock right now out my window and hit 13 female artists. God forbid I get in my car and drive anywhere. I couldn't even go get my hair cut last week without the normal girl that does mine. I booked it at the last minute. She wasn't available, so I had to go to another girl that was in the same salon. I couldn't even go get my hair cut without the girl cutting my hair talking to me about her artist career. And it just, of course, the last thing the world needs is another male country singer either, on the face of either one of those. Now, you want to bring something new to the table? You want to do something different? You want to earn my respect? You want to earn my fealty and my loyalty? God forbid you earn my money. Now I'm in for that. I'm totally up for that, even if it's under the country umbrella or whatever it is that it might be. But the price that a lot of these artists are paying is not worth it. And that's why you have so many of these artists that are hot as fuck for about a year and then they're gone. Because that is what the labels do. They are in it for when the flame is blue. When it's at its hottest, that's what they're there for. The minute that flame starts to go down just a little bit, they're on to the next artist, because it is more cost effective to have something new than it is to keep something inflated. Think of a hot air balloon. It's easier to get one up in the air than it is to keep one in the air. It's just the way that it is. So they come in, they're here for a little bit, and then they're gone. Meanwhile, these artists have done and sold their soul and done everything else that they have to do, compromise themselves, compromise their art, done everything to get to a place where they think they can call themselves famous because, again, they place more importance and value on the perception of being the perception of being famous over the reality of being successful. That is today's artist in a nutshell. The one thing I will give Brandi Carlile is that she's been at it a long time. She's done her thing, her way, for a long time. And that I do respect. But I don't think she's any better than 10 other people I can name. And why she's getting the opportunity when these other 10 people aren't, that's what makes me not like Brandi Carlile. That's just honesty. Let me get to some of your comments. Luke, Steve, please, if you get a chance, check it out. I was seriously blown away. I promise you, Luke, tonight I will check out more Brandi Carlile. I'm fairly familiar. She used to live down the street from me. Miss Dietz says, I agree. A lot of it is selling the look for profit, not much talent. I mean, that's true. I said this, I don't know, I think it was in last week's podcast. And it's as raw as I can possibly be. Is that female artists, unless the title of your single is Check Out My Tits, there's no reason for them to be showing on your Instagram post promoting your single. What does having a bikini on have anything to do with your new single? Nothing. And that's what we're using. That is what we're counting on to sell music now. Because the music, and most of us would never know if the music was really any good because what brought us in is something that we really don't respect. And I think that is a huge problem. And look, guys, male artists are just as guilty, but it's just different. It's I mean, I guess you could say that it's using sex to sell, but I mean, I'm not attracted to men, so I'm sure a woman in the chat could tell us, a female in the chat could tell us, or another guy. I have no problem with whoever. Boy, that's a slippery slope. I don't care who you love. I don't care who you're attracted to. I don't care who you go to bed with. I don't give a shit one way or the other. But guys do it too. But it's a little bit more, the labels count on it when they're dealing with female artists. I could tell you horror stories of producing female artists and hearing and seeing text messages that they get from their record labels talking about the way that they're dressing. They wish they would wear fewer clothes. Can't they be sexier on their Instagram? All of that. I've seen it. It's documented. So I know that it's not always the female artists themselves that want to do that. They are put in a position that they are not going to get the support that they need at the record label and from the record label if they don't play ball. And I get that. The problem is that, especially in country music, and I've talked about this in the past, women buy a majority of the records in country music. For the most part, it sounded like Bernie Sanders, didn't it? For the most part. I kind of enjoyed doing that. Maybe I should be an impressionist. Women feel threatened by other women. So when you are placing yourself in front of a demographic in country music that is largely, the format as a whole is supported by women, and all of your posts, you're barely dressed, and I'm a guy, I see it, I'm not saying I hate it, but I'm not buying your music. I'm not your market. You keep thinking that I am by trying to attract my money, and I'm not going to buy your music. Women, females, overwhelmingly support the country demographic. And you're not doing yourself any favors by all of your pictures being scantily clad or, very suggestive pictures, because all you're doing is turning off your fan base. If you want to know why there's not more successful female artists, it's because most of you female artists don't understand who your fucking demographic is. You're pissing off with every Instagram post and Snapchat post and TikTok post. You are pissing off the people more likely to buy your record. Now, we can talk all day long about women should support other women, and it shouldn't be that way, but guess what? It is. And it's not going to change. So if you are a female artist, you need to realize, especially in country music, that women are the ones that buy the concert tickets and buy the music. And they don't like seeing your ass, and they don't like seeing your tits. They feel threatened. You are literally threatening your customer base. When you do that, that creates a lack of demand in the marketplace for female artists. When you have a lack of demand in the marketplace for female artists, you have exactly what we've had for 20 years, and that is 1 to 3 to 4 to maybe 5 successful female country acts, females at a time. And if you look at the ones that were really successful, Reba McEntire, Trisha Yearwood, Martina McBride, Patty Loveless. They didn't do that shit. All the sexy stuff kind of started with Faith Hill, and Leanne Rimes as well when she got older. But now, Carrie Underwood, half of her shit's extremely suggestive. Kelsey Ballerini, same way. Most of them are. But even people like Carrie Underwood, she understands her demographic. She knows who buys her records. So when hers is a little suggestive, it's highly stylish. And it's a post where women look at it and go, damn, I'd either like to have the body that fit in that outfit, or I really like that shirt. I like those pants. Where can I go get those yoga pants? I like those. And then what does Carrie do? Because she's smart, she comes out with her own brands that is available now at every Dick's Sporting Goods store. Then you wonder why people like Carrie Underwood are very successful. Because they understand. They get it. Kelsey Ballerini's had a couple hits, but she'll never be Carrie Underwood. Why? Because she's still running around and doing suggestive shit. She's starting to kind of rein it in a little bit. But they don't understand the philosophy behind what it is that they're doing to their career. And you can hate what I'm saying, but it's the fucking truth. And if it offends you, so be it. It doesn't make it any less true. Yes, I am going to. I noticed that I am going to start making people moderators. You get all kinds of people. I mean, Metamucil's great for that, Quincy. Mrs. Dietz, I like the lyrics of the song if it's relatable, had a plot that can be followed through the song, and has a message or story that's relayed. Unfortunately, not many artists do that anymore. No, they don't. Because it's not about the song anymore. That's why I quit writing. I think I've told y'all before. I walked into my publisher's office 3 years ago, and they point blank, in quotes, said, Steve, we need you to stop writing great songs and write more songs we can get cut. Identifying that there is a difference between a great song and a song that will get cut by a major artist. It is not about the music anymore. They want ditties. They want 2.5 to 3 minute commercials that get straight to the hook and that are catchy, that are easily repeatable and very easy to remember, which means we don't talk about substantive issues because that will fly right over our core demographic's head, because the labels want music made for people between the ages of 12 and 21 who number one, that whole demographic can't afford to fucking buy music, so they stream it or steal it. And two, they can't afford to go out and buy any products. So why? But that's the demographic that's so important. That's who we're trying. That is who everything is aimed towards. Because they share it, they talk about it, it becomes viral. It's more about that in music than it is about the songs. It has not been about great songs or good music for a very, very long time. We have dumbed down music creation to the lowest common denominator so that it hits them right here between the eyes. We can't ask or require people to think about something. We can't create music or write songs that it invokes a reaction or creates a deeper relationship emotionally between the artist or the writer and the fan. We can't do that anymore because people that are buying music or consuming music or streaming it, they don't invest in it anymore. They don't believe in it. A study that I looked at not long ago in the United States, 87% of people believe that music should be free, that they shouldn't have to pay for it. They shouldn't even have to pay to stream it. It should be free. These same people walk into Starbucks and spend $6.50 on a cup of coffee. That cup of coffee is going to last 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then it's done, and you literally piss it out. But they will bitch, moan, gripe, and complain about spending 99 cents or $1.29 or, God forbid, even $9, $10 a month to have an unlimited category of every song that has ever been recorded. God forbid they spend $1 buying a song that they'll have forever. There is no value. We in the business, we did it to ourselves. We created a culture and we devalued music to the point where the people that we needed to count on to buy it, to keep it going, we did exactly what they wanted, what we wanted them to do. And that is we dumbed it down so much that now they don't value it at all. There's no value. They don't invest in it. I remember being young and investing in artists. The artists that I followed, that I knew, which is awesome because I've gotten to work with so many of them later in life. But I remember I knew when they had a new CD coming out. They would release one song or maybe two singles, and then they had a full album coming out, and I would go to the store and I would buy the tape or I'd buy the CD so that I could crack it open and I could read every song title, who the songwriters were, what the actual lyrics of the song were, and I would listen to those albums. I'd pop either the tape or the CD in, and I would listen to it all the way through. And then I'd listen to it all the way through again. And then I'd grab my guitar and I would learn every song on the entire record. And the favorites that I picked out that meant something to me had nothing to do with whether or not it was a song that was playing on the radio or not. Most oftentimes, my favorite songs on all of my favorite records from artists were never songs that were released on the radio. Very rarely, as a matter of fact. Very rarely. But we've devalued the product. And that's our fault. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do to gain and grow that value back. Once you have decided that something is worthless, there's nothing you can do to change people's minds. Now what we have to do is find a way within them not finding it valuable to make it work, for artists to be able to continue to build a career. And unfortunately, the only way that is to do that now is to give your music away and hope that you develop a fan base that you can go get paid to play live, and you can sell CDs hand to hand and merch live to people who are engaged. That small percentage of people, out of 1,000 people that would hear it, 10 people are going to love it, 5 people will come to the show and buy a record. So out of every 1,000 people you're being exposed to, you have a chance, about a 10 to 15% chance of selling 5 records. So the only way to succeed is multiplying that 1,000 times 10, so that out of 10,000 people, you can sell 50 records. Out of 20,000 people, you can sell 100 records. That's why social media is so important. Y'all can get me wound up now. Shit. Miranda Lambert does the same thing. She absolutely does. Do you think that why someone like Post Malone has hit so hard, because he just writes great song after great song as opposed to one great song and 9 throwaways? Totally. I will tell you right now, Post Malone has enough unreleased material that he has recorded to release 15 albums. At least. They went for Hollywood's Bleeding, they were choosing from over 85 songs to decide what to put on this album. He cares about the content he's putting out. Now, you may not get it. Some people may not get it. It may not be their bag. I'm not a big rap fan. I don't like most rap. I like old school stuff. I don't like the new stuff. I don't get the thing. Like when we went to the Post Malone concert at Madison Square Garden, Tyler Yahweh, I don't even know if I'm fucking pronouncing his name right. Tyler Yahweh and some other dude. I didn't care. I didn't, it was not my thing. They're very talented. I appreciate their art. I appreciate what they do, but it's not my bag. It's not the thing that I like. Now, my daughters were freaking out because they knew every song that Tyler Yahweh had and whoever the other guy was. They knew every word. I don't know how they know every word. I've still yet to get a good answer to that question. I ask all the time, how the fuck do you know? How do you know these people? And I don't know. I just know. Okay. If we could ever figure that one out, we could turn this whole music business around. But I didn't care for what they did. Number one, I couldn't understand a word they were saying. And it's that yelling, screaming kind of rap thing. And even Post Malone, there are some songs that are kind of like, it's not my favorite, but I appreciate it. And one of the things that I found, especially with Hollywood's Bleeding, the more I listen to it, which there's one in every single car I own. I have that record in every car that I own, so that no matter which car I choose to get in that day, I can listen to that record. The more I listen to it, the more I understand where he's coming from, and I get it. And then you match that with, I don't think I've ever met anybody over 20 years in this business that is more appreciative, grateful, and humble about where they are. It's unbelievable. So, yes, Bandra, I think that has a big piece to do with it. When Post sits down and is thinking about what he's going to do, he's very methodical in thinking every song on that record is on that record for a reason. And if you listen to it from track 1 all the way through, it starts to paint a picture. And even though they are individual pieces, all of those songs together, I think there's 17, all of them together paint an overall picture. As an artist, that's what you should be trying to do. When I get hired and I go in and I produce a record, that is my goal. If we're doing an EP, we're going to do 5 songs, let's say. My goal as a producer and what I try to do is go, let's find 5 individual pieces of art, of songs that can stand alone individually or fit together to create an overall picture. The journey has to have a beginning, and it has to have a middle, and it has to have an end. It should be a straight line between the songs. Connect the dots, tell a story, take the listener on a journey. That is the only way we can truly build value back in music. That's it. Start drawing and connecting dots that people do find valuable. Be of meaning. Add something to the conversation. You know, I have believed for a long time, and I think this is true of artists and songwriters. I've never been an artist. I've been very fortunate to be successful as a songwriter, but I've never been an artist. I've never wanted to be an artist. But as a songwriter, I've often thought of this of myself, and I think it's true of artists. We should be the mirror. We should be the thing that people, the art that we create, or the artist that we are, should be a mirror that causes people to reflect. Every song that we write should have a piece of something from everybody in it that they can relate to. You know, even in country music, when we're talking about the reason that country music is so popular and people complain about it constantly is because it's constantly talking about, you know, sliding on over on the seat and the tailgate and the Fireball and the Down by the River. The reason that is so popular and country music is popular is because the fan base and the demographic that consumes that music, it's relatable to them. They relate to that. They drive down dirt roads. A lot of them do drive trucks. They do drink Fireball. They do go spend their weekends on the river or down on the river bank at campfires and bonfires, on pontoon boats. That it is a reflection, it is a mirror of their lives, of the people that you expect to consume it and support it. It's a mirror. It serves as a mirror. That's our job. I think that's my job. Right now, I'm not as passionate or excited or have the desire to be that mirror because I don't think I have anything to say right now that people will find of value. Because what most people are finding value in right now, I don't find value in. I want to sit down and write something that is just literally taking and pulling your heart out and making you think about things. That's not what people are interested in right now. People are interested in that, like I've said before, those little items and the little candy that's at the checkout counter that you just happen to pick it up while you're waiting to check out. That's what music is to people right now. Entertain me for the next 3 minutes until I'm on to the next thing. I'm only interested in writing songs that when somebody listens to it goes, play that again. Whoa, play that again. Did he just say, play that again? And until that's what people want to hear, I don't care if I ever write another song. Because that's the only music I'm interested in writing. That's it, period. Something that connects, something that means something with people. It's funny, I've been going through trying to get myself in the passion of writing again, and I've been listening to a lot of songs that I wrote 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and really thinking, I cannot believe some of these songs never got cut. And I'm sitting there listening, and I had a friend here, and he was listening, and he was like, it's too good. That's why I didn't get cut. And I'm not patting myself on the back, but what I'm saying is that they are substantive. They are make you think. They are hit you right here and not right here. Because when I write, I always aim for the heart. Period. End of story. I'm not aiming for you to spend the next 3 minutes with me. I want to leave an impression. I want you to think about it. I want you to listen to a song that I've written and 3 days from now still be fucked up about it. That's now one way or the other. I'm not saying I just want to write songs that depress people. Either make you happy or 3 days later you think about it and you go and you get a smile on your face because you think about that song. That's the kind of stuff I'm interested in. Not the crap that we hear on the radio now that is, it's just one way or the other. One just boom. It doesn't matter. Songs that matter. And I'm hoping we do something at some point to bring that back around full circle where great songs do matter again. Because I think it's important. I think what we've done to the music business is we've gone from a world where we have Rembrandts and Da Vinci's and Van Goghs, and we traded all of that in for finger painting and painting by numbers. That's exactly what we've done to the music business. For the sake of simplicity, for the sake of expediency, and for the sake of the almighty dollar that every 13-year-old has in their hand or on their prepaid Visa card, we are now supplying paint by numbers. Instead of we have people that still can paint like Van Gogh, like Rembrandt, like Da Vinci. Those people haven't gone anywhere. It's just the art that they know how to create best is not what's appreciated or what's valued. And I know for a lot of us, it's like the whole Bible verse, don't cast your pearls before swine. Why in the world would we take something that means so much to us and put it out in front of people who are not going to appreciate it, that it's not going to mean anything to? And I think that's the conundrum of where we are right now. There are many different small circles and groups of people who are more than fine with writing that kind of song. I will tell a story. This was 4 years ago, with one of the guys that wrote Kelsey Ballerini's song Dibs. If you're a country music fan, that song went number 1. It was a huge hit. I was writing with, it's the first time we ever wrote together. And when he came over to the house to write, the song was in the top 20. And he came over to the house, and we were talking back and forth, and we got to talking about Dibs. And I said, look, I've been in the business long enough on all sides of it. Dibs is going to go number 1. And he's like, man, this would be my first number 1. That'd be awesome, blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, it's going to go number 1. Don't worry. I mean, it's probably going to be another 4 to 6 weeks, but it's going to go to number 1. And I said, play me or tell me some of the other stuff, some of the other songs, because, again, I'm very honest. And I said, we got to talking about what kind of song we were going to write that day, and I said, to be honest with you, my thing is not writing Dibs. Nothing against the song. It's simple. It's just no substance to it. And I'm talking to the guy who wrote it, okay? And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's just a different mentality. And he looked me dead in the eye, and he said, if I knew I could come in every day and write Dibs, I'd be happy with that the rest of my career. That's when I knew we were not going to be compatible. That was the funny thing of it is, though, we wrote a great song. We wrote a hit song that was nothing like Dibs. But that is the mentality. There's so many people that want the acclaim, the fame, or the notoriety that comes along with creating something so simple and easy and consumable, that is more important to them than leaving a legacy of great songs. So that's kind of why the industry is where it's at right now, because it's so funny. I when I talk or speak out somewhere, or I do one of these and it's live and you guys can interact, everybody says the same things you got. You hate it. Everybody said, and it's so funny to me because there are so many more people who want it to be different, who want something of value. The only thing I can say to you guys is when you find something that you value when it comes to music, buy it. Buy it. Support the artist. Don't just get on everywhere and on Facebook and talk about how shitty Florida Georgia line is and, all this new country crap and blah, and just don't do that. Which do that if you want. But say, you know what, I don't like that and I don't care for it, but boy, Cody Jinks or Ward Davis or James Otto or Ray Scott or any one of I love, these guys are amazing. I just bought their record and you should too. That's how you do it. You can't just complain about it. You've got to support what it is. You got to support financially. Let me caveat. Support the artist that you believe in and that you do find valuable. Support them financially. Don't just pay $9 to Apple Music and stream it. That doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the artist. It doesn't help the songwriters. It doesn't help the producer. It doesn't help anybody. But when you buy a record, you're investing in that artist. That's what will help change things. That's what will help create a demand. That's why so many of the Texas artists do really well, because they create a demand. They get highly engaged fans that are not hesitant at all to invest in their career by buying their music, buying their merch, showing up at concerts, being an active part of their career, because that's what it takes. Let's see. That's crazy that people think that music should be free. It's more than infuriating. Used to have to buy a whole CD just to hear 3 good songs that I like. But that's the truth. It is the truth. Napster had a lot to do with it. They did. That was, yeah. I mean, that was when the whole thing started with sharing and the value went through the floor. It absolutely did. The money now is in live shows. Totally. It's in selling product hand to hand. What do you think of Billie Eilish? I think she's unique, and I'll give her that. My 12-year-old is going to see her in concert here in Nashville. I don't know if it's January or February, which I will probably take backlash over. I can't believe you'd let your daughter go. She's going with my wife and a friend. I admire her for not doing what would be so easy for her to do, and that is to straddle the middle of the highway and just create some more bubblegum bullshit. She is going to make her music with her songs, with her brother, the way that she wants to do it. Now, I'm not necessarily a fan. It's a little dark for me, but I have 2 daughters, and I get it. As much as I can get it, I get it. But I love the fact that she's unique. Absolutely love the fact that she's unique. I don't like all of her stuff, but she is damn creative. So creative. And her brother's a genius. I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from her, but he is a musical genius. He's damn near a savant. He just hears things as a producer and a songwriter that he's very good. This is when you find an artist. That's why people think producing records is easy, and it's not. Producing records is all about the relationship that the producer has with the artist. And I've worked and produced records with artists that I had a wonderful relationship with and ones that I didn't have a good relationship with. The ones that I have a good relationship with always turn out better. There's a mutual appreciation. There's a mutual understanding of talent. It's an open forum, but he gets her. He knows how to hear something and put it in context for her. And that is brilliance. That's brilliance at its finest. Steve, your cars have CD players? A couple of them do. My Jeep has the CD player. My F-250 has a CD player. The others don't. And I'm getting really tired of them not putting CD players in cars, but that's another rant. I will buy the physical album still and get a lossless RIP for, there you go, for your digital audio player. Also pay for Apple Music and will stream stuff I own, so I give artists money on multiple fronts. And is it breaking the bank, Bandrew? No. It's not breaking the bank. You can still support artists. You can still buy their music and stream their music. That's 2 separate transactions. When you stream something, all of that money's going to the record label. The song that is another podcast. I get really pissed off about that one. We saw the reason the record labels make more money is because the record labels cut deals with Spotify and Apple Music that allow them to have master use of the license to use the master recording. So when you stream something, the record label makes a lot of money. When you stream something, the songwriters don't make very much money at all, like 0.0000039 or 96 something cents. Like literally, I've got a song with 30 something million streams, and I think I made 600 and something bucks. 30 million streams, $600. There's something wrong with that. Meanwhile, the record label made a shitload because they own the master. The songwriters and the producers don't own the master. So if you want to support the artist, buy the record. Don't just stream it. You're not supporting the artist at all when you stream it. Let's see what's that, Lou. Didn't hear her brother produce. Yeah, her brother produced the everything she's done so far. Her brother produced it. Matter of fact, they produced it in their guest bedroom. Actually, her bedroom in the house they grew up in. This whole album. It's insane. With using I think he's using the Universal Apollo. He might be using, it's either the X6 or the X8P. I think he uses that and then an Apollo twin. It wasn't, the Billie Eilish record was not done in a multi-million-dollar recording studio. It was done in a guest bedroom, spare bedroom in the house. Her bedroom in the house. She did most of the vocals sitting on the bed in her room. Which is going to be one thing that we're going to be focusing on the YouTube channel this year is about recording and the equipment that you should be using, the equipment that you really need, the equipment that everybody tells you need that you don't. We're going to talk a lot about that. I use Tidal to stream because of the quality. I've never used Tidal. I've never used Tidal before. I need to. All right, we've been going over 2 hours now. Anybody got any questions? God forbid, don't get me running off on another tangent. It's the longest I've gone without a cigarette for a long time. See, y'all are trying to help me quit smoking. I know it. I love all of you. I know that's what you're doing. But if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you. If there's another topic you want to talk about, let me know. We can get into it. If not, I've got episodes of Outlander to watch. Oh, my God. I cannot believe I'm into that show. It's like a damn romance novel. Graphic, but it's like a romance novel. Now I'm into it, though. I got to finish it. I think that's what's so exciting about right now. It's affordable, record at home. There's no reason not to make a great record. No real barrier. No. There are no barriers. There's nothing I can't do in this room that I could do in a studio, like, downtown. When I'm producing a bigger record, the only reason for me, even in the bigger records that I produce now, the only reason that we use a quote unquote real studio, not record here, is space. Because most of the time, you've got, like when I hired Tim Galloway, when I hired Tim to come play guitar on a session, he brings 30 guitars, 4 guitar amps, drummers. Grady has one kit set up, but he's got 6 different toms with him, 20 different snares. It's a space issue. It's not an equipment issue. I think I've said this before, and this was 2018. I think 5 of the 10 most popular songs of 2018 were actually produced on a MacBook Pro on an airplane between New York and Los Angeles. That's what it takes. I do have a series for people that are interested in this kind of thing. I do have a series that I'm working on right now for the YouTube channel, and I have to partially give credit to Podcastage, to Bandrew, because this was one of his ideas. I had the idea, but he brought it up and was like, you know what, I guess I really need to do that. I'm going to do a series of home recording studio videos at different budgets and different price levels and show you what you can do at that different budget. So we're going to do a $500 home studio, a $1,000 home studio, a $1,500 home studio, all the way up to $1 million. We might go there. I mean, I don't know that I'm going to do that. I can, but I don't know that I'm going to, because how many of you guys have $1 million to spend on a recording studio? Probably not many of you. But I want to do that to show you the different pieces and parts that you really need. There are only a few core things that you really need to have to produce the absolute top quality to rival and be on the same playing field with any major artist out there ever. I'm going to do a big misconception video on the damn Sony, whatever it is, C800 microphone. Every R&B hip-hop artist thinks that they've got... the microphone's a piece of shit. It's $8,000, $9,000, and I wouldn't... I'd use this microphone over that microphone. And this microphone is $399. It was built and made, it's a Shure SM7B. This microphone was made for broadcasters, but this microphone, you've heard more lead vocals on the radio and albums that you've bought that were sang through this microphone than any other microphone in history. Bar none, period. I don't care when they show the video and they're using a U87 or a vintage U47 or the Sony C800 or a U67. It was done with this one. So there's a lot of things that you're told that, and that's the business trying to keep you out. That's the business saying, well, you have to have this level and this expensive of equipment to do it, and you don't. Now, don't get me wrong. This is coming from a guy who has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on gear. There's probably more than that in this room. But I don't need it to do what I do. I have it, and I just don't get rid of gear very often. Matter of fact, Bandrew is the proud owner of my Neve 500 series lunchbox and 2 API 512s that I've used on many hit records. I just don't get rid of gear. But you don't have to have all of that. Alien says, I do everything with my GarageBand program. And you can. There's nothing that says that you can't. Like, a lot of people get hung up on microphones. Microphones are not what adds the integrity in a recording. The mic almost doesn't matter. It's the mic pre and the compressor. It's the chain after the microphone. Now, sometimes there are subtle differences between condensers, tubes, ribbons. They have different sounds. But when if I'm having somebody else do vocals on a record that I'm producing, like, and I'm not there while the vocals are happening, which is very rare, but happens sometimes. When I'm listening back, I don't ask them, what mic did you use? I ask them what mic pre. Most of the time, if I'm not going to be there, I tell them I want a Neve 1073 or a Martech MSS10 or a Neve 512C into a 1176 compressor, or my favorite vocal chain is a Neve 1073 into a TubeTech CL1B. Or what's even better than that is a Martech preamp into a TubeTech CL1B. I don't give a fuck what microphone is at the front of it. I know what's coming out the back end, because the mic pre and the compressor are what are adding the tonal values that you're hearing. Any microphone, I don't care how much money it is. If you just take a microphone, any microphone, a $100 microphone or a $25,000 microphone, and plug them in and listen, it sounds like shit. Every single one of them. Where you start to get the tone and you start to get the warmth, or you start to get that high mid or the higher end of the spectrum that you personally want to hear, that you think sounds good on your voice, all of that is provided by mic pre, compressor, and EQ. I don't care who you are. Buy a $30,000 microphone and plug it in. Just plug it straight into your interface, put headphones on and sing into it. It sounds like shit. Because it's not about the microphone. It's about what comes out of the microphone and what it goes into. That's what matters. That is all that matters. And now the way things are done, when you get to the mix stage, by the time a song is mixed and mastered and put out, you would never know that they used a $100 microphone or they used a $20,000 microphone. The new Halsey record, every vocal on that record was done through, the vocals were done with a $500 microphone into a UA Apollo Twin onboard preamps. No outboard mic pre's, no outboard compressors. A $500 microphone directly into the Universal Audio Apollo Twin. That's how the vocals for that record is. And she's had how many hit songs off of that record? So no, you don't need a very expensive microphone. Your interface matters. The analog to digital and digital analog conversion, the quality of the converters matters a lot. A lot. And there is a difference in converters. I was a huge Apogee fan for years, which I still like Apogee. Apogee has the absolute best converters on the face of the planet, bar none. The issue that Apogee is now having is that Universal Audio and other interface manufacturers have raised their standards on their converters to where now their converters are very good, and they're just as good as Apogee's, which is why now I've switched back over to the UA Apollo. That is by far the best interface you'll ever buy. Is an Apollo, the new Twin X or the X4, X6, X8, X16. With what they've done with UAD and the plugins, I'm going to tell you, if we took this microphone right here and we went back there and we plugged it in to a vintage Neve 1073 and then a UA 1176 outboard, $17,000 vocal chain that would be. I could record that, and then I could take out all the outboard gear. I could put this microphone straight into the Universal Audio Apollo and pull up their DSP plugins and pull up the Neve 1073 mic pre and then pull up the 1176 plugin. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference between what was the $20,000 outboard gear and the plugins that are on the UAD plugins. You wouldn't be able to tell. So it makes having the $20,000 worth of it seem really stupid. So you don't have to have all that. Quality does not have to come at a price. It's about what you know and how you know what to do with what you have. I see it all the time on YouTube because I watch a lot of stuff that has to do with cameras and stuff, and they all those guys will tell you it's not about having the $50,000 red camera. It's about having the knowledge to use what you have to the best of your ability. That's what matters. So you don't have to have all that expensive stuff. You have to know how to use what you've got effectively. And yes, there is a thing of some things are better than others, like that. The Universal, so many people go out and they buy the Focusrite stuff. To me, Focusrite is crap. I wouldn't own a piece of Focusrite gear if somebody gave it to me. I just don't like their stuff. It's cheap. The converters aren't good. The preamps aren't good. If you're somebody that wants to have an all-in-one solution, then you ought to be looking at or buying the Universal Apollo Twin. Get the small one. You don't have to get the big one. Get the small one. The audio quality of your productions and what you're doing will increase 10,000% the minute you do that. The converters are better. There's the algorithm that is built into the A to D and D to A produces a much clearer and more transparent sound than the cheaper interfaces. I'm not saying that you can't do well with a $109 Focusrite Scarlett 212. I'm sure somebody has at some point. But the cool thing is that when you jump up, and I'm not paid by Universal Audio. I just love their stuff. Always have. But if you spend that $699, $799 for that interface, you really will never need to buy another interface ever. Like, there's no need to upgrade. You're never going to need anything more than that unless you open a full commercial studio and you need 16, 32, 64 channels. Then you buy 2 Apollo 16s. But if you're a home studio, a producer at your house and in your own studio, a Universal Apollo Twin is all you'll ever need. Post Malone, Louis, he uses it. That's all he uses. Universal Apollo Twin. He's got 4 of them that he travels with so that he makes sure he's got one everywhere that he is. That's what they use. WoW was completely produced on a Universal Audio Twin. The vocals were done through it with onboard preamps. If it's good enough for the biggest song in the country and the biggest artist in the country, then and it's $699, then it's good enough for your home studio too. But what I'm saying is that's the quality that you can count on. You can get the quality of the number 1 song in the world in your house. And it puts you on a level playing field. Now, what separates the difference is the producer's knowledge of how to do what we do with it once we get the files in the computer. And the creativity that goes into what gets put into the computer. That's where the difference really comes in. Can we do a tour of my room sometime? I have needed to do that for a long time, and I just haven't done it. So yes, I will do that for sure. Can you do a tour? Oh yeah, I just answered that one. Yes, we can. I'm loving the 512C on the SM7B and the LA2. I told you would. Tell me, Bandrew, that 512 is not punchy as all get out. I mean, it pushes you so far. I love the 512. I love it. I kind of regret selling it to you, in all honesty. I'm glad you have it. I'll buy another one at some point. But it's just so punchy. It sounds so good. Let's see. Steve, what is the best city for seeing up-and-coming artists? I'm retired and would love to surround myself with talent. Oh, I'll tell you, since you suggested Brandy Carlisle, the San Antonio, New Braunfels area of Texas is really booming with talent right now. I'll say that. There's a lot of amazing talent coming out of that area. Oklahoma is that Tulsa, Oklahoma City. There's a lot of artists coming out of there that are talented. Trying to think. I'm told Charlotte, North Carolina has a really happening live music scene. Austin, Texas, for different flavors. Surrounding Chicago, there's a lot of great a good live music scene around Chicago. It gets thinner as you go out west. The Midwest and Southeast is just thrives on music and live music and a plethora of being able to pop in somewhere and really see some talent. Anywhere in Texas right now is amazing, in all honesty. I would not... Nashville? No. Listen to the radio. There's no talent coming out of Nashville. Let's see. Athens, Georgia. You know what? I was going to say Georgia. North of Atlanta, which I think Athens is north of Atlanta. I might be wrong. There's several little places in and around Atlanta that are really good. I think in there, like Eddie's Attic or something down there, a lot of really talented artists come through there. I got asked to go down there and do a songwriters round once, and I didn't go. I wish I would have. I think I was traveling or something. But yeah, anywhere in the South, I think it's weird because I think of music when I think of the question you asked. I think a lot of football conferences. So like the Big 12 and the SEC, those are great music cities. Really good stuff. All right, well, we've been on for a long time, and it's time for me to smoke. I can't go any more than that. So anyway, we will wrap it up for tonight. Thank you guys all for being here. We're going to start doing this every Monday night. We will be back here. I'm in town. We'll be here next Monday night, and we will do this again. So think of questions, think of comments, think of conversations you want to have, and I would be more than happy to have them with you guys. Again, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Love each and every one of you. Hope you have an amazing New Year's Eve. If you're fortunate enough to be able to be surrounded with people that you love and that you care about, let them know it. And please head into 2020 with realistic and obtainable goals. Don't place too high of expectations on yourself. Set obtainable goals. And like I've said so many times, guys, there is power in small victories. It doesn't always have to be a major accomplishment, a major step. Every small victory adds up to a group of victories that you can rest your laurels on and that you can find enjoyment in, you can find fulfillment in, that give you the fuel to keep you going. So thank you guys for being here. If you're not following me on social media, make sure you do, at the Steve Freeman on all social media platforms. If you want to take the Artist Development Masterclass, go to thestevefreeman.com and sign up. It's going to be free for another month. February 1st, it ain't free no mo'. So sign up for it now and take it for free. You can also join my inner circle. Links to all this shit is down in the description below. Join my email list, and that will get you into the masterclass as well. But you'll also get a bunch of other content we're going to be creating and putting out for you guys in 2020. Guys, until the next time, keep being creative, keep pressing the boundaries, and there's nothing wrong with being independent. Have a great new year.